ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Back to Way Back, home of the musical TARDIS. I'm Kumrai Fang, and today we're going to talk about world music. I mean, music doesn't just revolve around the Hot 100. What gets big in the US barely scratches the surface on what the music world has to offer. Different cultures around the world have their own pop trends, and that's just covering the popular stuff. There are many more artists that fall below the popular radar, and as someone who makes release lists at the end of the year, I find it best to keep myself well-rounded, as best as I can anyways. So, my beloved musical TARDIS has picked an artist outside the US for me to review, and since this is the second part of our Way Back premiere, I decided I should review 2 of their songs. So, MT, what do you got? Mi música los tiene fuerte bailando y se baila así. J fucking Balvin. Are you kidding me? He's one of the worst reggaeton artists that we have next to Ozuna and Archangel. What would you want me to talk about? Oh, you want me to talk about Willy William? That would be a yes. Okay, where do I start on this one?
Warning! Warning! Code 386! Warning! Warning! Unauthorized entry! Prepare for collaboration!
Don't tell me!
Did someone say Willy fuck! It's you again!
Rodrigo, your timing is absolutely perfect.
Why am I here? Why do I have to show up, of all channels, here again? I hate you!
Because my TARDIS selected him to review today and you love his debut album?
Your what?
My musical TARDIS. It's a reference to the show called Doctor Who.
Girl, you don't need to tell me what a TARDIS is. I was a fucking super hooligan for like 3 years. I was one of those kids. But what you're telling me is I've caught you again on your Back to Way Back series?
Yeah, pretty much.
So I crashed it again.
Yep.
And I could just leave now.
No.
Ah! Ooh. Oh, remote control. Oh, that means you're in control now.
Yep.
And we hate each other.
Yep.
Who are we talking about again?
Mais avant tout, fais bouger la tête. Mais fais bouger la tête. Mais fais bouger la tête.
Okay, all things considered, this is pretty much the best case scenario, so yeah, I think I can work with this.
Then would you like to take the reins?
Would I? I've literally been ready for this for over a year. Let's fucking do this.
Dois-je te prendre au sérieux? Te regarder dans les yeux.
Willy William is, and I'm not kidding here, one of the best artists currently working. It's insane just how slept on this guy is, both in his home country, France, and the rest of the world. His style of music is incredibly varied, taken from many different genres and styles and combining it all with an air of pop grace that's undeniable, taken from modern mainstream pop to Latin reggaeton, as well as Caribbean rhythms like Gluto, house music, and EDM, even fucking 90s Eurodance. The beat to mi gente is not even representative of a tenth of what this guy can do. He's as skilled and creative as he is underrated. And as you can tell, I'm kind of a Willy William connoisseur because, well, no one else in the world is, so...
I am no exception to this, but actually looking into William's debut album, Rodrigo's not wrong. Listening to it, I can tell that he's a very lively and passionate singer. He seems to like making music for people to have a good time and dance to, but he's also not afraid of playing with his music. He's surprisingly diverse with his production. I don't think his verse on Mi Gente really allowed him to show off his true skill. I've listened to his debut album so much that I've lost count.
Oh my god, it's such a fucking incredible album. I mean, so many fucking tunes, like, Cité Dog, Suis Moi, fucking Tout le Monde, my god.
That's ignoring the more obscure cuts like Tentacion. I didn't expect a guy who liked having this much fun to have any tense moments on his album.
Tentacion is the goddamn greatest song ever made, you're so right. And something like K2A, which is a fun and bouncy song that's also surprisingly dramatic, I mean, how do you do that?
I have no clue, but damn do I love it. We need a second album from him.
Right this very second, yes, you're so right, wait a minute, wait a second, I hate you. Why are we bonding? Ew!
You're the one geeking out, that's my line.
Literally anything is my line. If I say it's my have the remote control, you could literally kill me right. I forgot. Which song were you planning to talk about?
Well, this is a dual song review, so I may as well let you choose one of them, but I chose this one.
Ale, ale, ale.
Oh, how original. The big single, a top 20 hit in France, 300 million views, just how predictable.
Well, actually, I only got into this song because you played it during your Mi Gente review.
Scratching the surface, classic humor. You want your eyes to get into this, guys? Play them this.
Dis-moi quand est-ce qu'on s'endort? Quand est-ce qu'on s'endort?
His best song, which also just happened to be a single.
On Sandor, huh? With a guest feature almost as obscure as William himself. Classic Rodrigo.
I'll admit I'm a little hipster bitch, but you could also admit that I'm right.
We hate each other, remember? That ain't happening. I'll put my foot behind Ego any day of the week.
I'm sure you will, but hey, since we're at it, humor me. Why Ego?
Miroir, dis-moi qui est le plus beau, quitte à devenir mégalo.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not a bad song at all. It's actually pretty great in a lot of different aspects, but I never really saw it as a highlight for the guy. It never fully hit me the way other songs by him have.
Well, to start, it does something that most other songs fail to do. It uses its tension to build something compelling and even danceable. Ego starts off with this music box styled music, but then there are horns and what sounds like a ticking clock coming in to create the percussion. It's incredibly subtle. It creates this unnerving sensation that runs up my spine. And then the drop shows up and it surprises me in a good way.
Ale, ale, ale.
The song lets loose without losing its tense atmosphere. It sounds like a struggle, which is cathartic and restrained at the same time. That's not a combination that's easy to pull off. Mind you, that's just the production, but I would love to hear your rebuttal. Why in Sandor?
I will grudgingly admit you have a point about Ego. It does have a lot of atmosphere and tension that's very well pulled off, but Onsen Don't actually goes for a pretty similar vibe, and I'd say does it even better.
Il est 5 heures du matin.
Unlike Ego, which has a bigger focus on building a sonic landscape to create said tension, Unsung Dog mainly focuses on one single melody. That very stilted, tight synth riff that repeats itself ad nauseum all throughout the song, from horns in the intro to deeper synths in the verses to actual singing in the chorus.
Dis-moi quand est-ce qu'on s'endort? La 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 la.
The main goal is to repeat the melody so much it makes it hard to stop the song because you're hooked by it. It's hypnotizing, and while the vibe may not be exactly creepy, it is eerie and persistent enough to make you feel like you can't get out, and all with a bouncier rhythm and faster tempo to add the danceability factor to it. In many ways, it's kind of like the precursor to Mi Gente if you think about it.
I don't know. The only time I hear tension is in the verses, which, granted, are great, but I can't help but feel a disconnect between this
Je suis foutu, j'ai pas sommeil.
and this.
Dis-moi quand est-ce qu'on s'endort?
I just don't know. I don't see how they work together.
That's valid, but if so, how come you can't feel the disconnect between this
Laisse-moi entrer dans ta matrice, goûter à tes délices.
and this?
Allez, allez, allez.
The drop just kind of enters the song. Ego doesn't really have a transition between those two sections, while Unsung Dog kinda does.
Je suis en tête à tête avec mes pensées.
There's a different main melody, they leave the riff behind. It's very much a build-up and a well-constructed one. It leads very well into the drop.
Well, the lack of a chorus helps, but honestly, that's sort of the point.
Miroir, dis-moi qui est le plus beau, quitte à devenir mégalo.
The narrator in Ego is a man who's far too caught up in, you guessed it, his own ego. Because of that, he thinks he can control everything and be above everyone until the second verse.
Miroir, qu'as-tu fait de ma tête? Cette transformation malhonnête.
Here, the narrator realizes that he's trapped himself in his own bubble and pushed people away as a result. He swears to recover and not get caught up in his own vanity ever again. The drop, therefore, has two purposes. First, to demonstrate the damage this attitude caused after the first verse, and then to show the struggle of fixing himself after the second verse, as represented by the pitched ad-libs that come out of nowhere.
Yeah, I guess I can see that. I guess it would work a lot better if, like, there was some kind of alteration in the drop that showed the repurposing of it. I mean, the drop isn't really that emotionally expressive to come off as that thematically ambiguous to me, which is why I like Guns N' Dolls even more, because there's no ambiguity there.
Il est 5 heures du matin.
The song actually has a really interesting lyrical subject, dealing with burdening anxiety manifesting itself in the form of insomnia. The narrators are so consistently frustrated by not even being able to fall asleep, and it's a really thematically unsatisfying song in that regard because they don't get better by the end of it, looking for a solution they can't really grasp.
Je crois que mon frère se fout de moi. Il a volé mes moutons pour les compter. Dis-moi quand est-ce qu'on s'endort.
In that sense, it makes a lot of sense as it's a very loud and abrasive song. With this state of mind, of course it's impossible to fall asleep. And William actually does a really good vocal performance, delving into a deeper, raunchier tone that definitely serves the song.
Je suis foutu, j'ai pas sommeil.
That's a really good and subtle shift in his performance.
Would you say the same thing for Monsieur Kevin Bonnet, who should really stick to using his stage name? You're good. Your name would be unlucky if he lived in the US.
Fucking stupid stage name and real name aside, hell yes I would. In fact, I'd say he's even better. His voice is incredible, flowing really well, rapping while also sticking to a really catchy melody, and when he sings in the second half, he's surprisingly tight. His deeper voice fits the beat super well.
If that's the case, why wasn't he more utilized for the song by maybe, oh, I don't know, making a bridge that doesn't just fill up space? Both William and King Vay just do ad-libs for the bridge, one playing off of the other that just sounds odd. King Vay sounds powerful enough, which goes with the whole drum thing he's going for, but William's part just doesn't sound right. It's like a call and response, and the response is underwhelming.
Well, maybe you're underwhelming.
And maybe you're full of it. What the hell makes this passable?
Sure, it's not the most fleshed out section of them all, and it's a mere transition to the final chorus, but it does its job well. The drums manage to build and get louder as they go, and William and Kent V have a lot of chemistry with each other. It's a really playful bridge that leads very well to the playful chorus. And besides, they at least made a competent build-up that flowed well with the rest of the song. What about Ego? He's just repeating the title over and over.
Wait, what?
Listen for yourself. It's not terrible, but it's a bit too goofy for this pretty ominous song, as well as really underdeveloped and not as fun as it thinks it is.
I don't believe it.
Yeah, I know, we love Willy, but everyone slips up from time to time.
No, I can't believe I forgot this was part of the song. It's just so forgettable. It's underwhelming. Hypnotic in its own right, sure, but only to put you in a daze before the drop shows back up. Like, wow, this was a waste. That atmosphere deserves so much better than this.
You see what I'm getting at here?
I can't believe I'm saying this, but yeah, I do.
Dis-moi quand est-ce qu'on s'endort.
Talk about the pot calling the kettle black. If a song goofs up in a way you can't notice, that's worse than when you can notice. The bridge to Unsondor was a waste, but at least it used the energy it had to get us to the end of the song in a way that stood out. And yes, that chorus/drop mix is a masterpiece whose final climax was very satisfying. I still wish that King V had more time on the mic than just for ad-libs, but as it stands, both him and William did a great job. You win, Rodrigo.
Of course I did, for everyone knows that I am always right. Still though, I appreciate that I'm given a platform to express my thoughts on this, and I do now appreciate Ego a lot more. You said a lot of things that I had frankly never thought of.
Oh. Wow, does that make us friends again?
Sure. Yeah, you're really good when it comes to persuasion overall. That's only a positive in my eyes.
Thank you, my good sir, and since we're friends again, I think it's only fair that I let you go home now.
Boomerang. Don't you realize? I am home. I am always home. Everywhere. All the time. I cannot be contained. I am but a soul spread across dimensions and space and time and life and love. Anyway, I'm the Radical Douche. Subscribe to Kumara, and Willy William deserves a fucking second album.
That we do, my friend, but until then, thank you guys so much for watching. You're watching Back to Way Back, but for now, back to the present.
The present is forever, and always will be.
Shut up!
Okay.
Quand est-ce qu'on s'endort? Quand est-ce qu'on s'endort?